CEOs from major U.S. airlines including American Airlines, Delta Airlines, United Airlines, and Southwest Airlines warned that the impending deployment of new 5G spectrum on Wednesday, January 19, could cause catastrophic disruption for flights across the country. The warning, which was also signed by shipping companies including UPS Airlines and FedEx Express, was issued in a letter from the CEO seen by Reuters, which said that both commercial and cargo flights could be affected. The letter was sent to Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, Federal Communications Commission (FCC) Chairwoman Jessica Rosenworcel, FAA Administrator Steve Dixon, and White House National Economic Council Director Brian Dees, Reuters reports. On Tuesday, ahead of the 5G spectrum push, some of that disruption became a reality. Emirates, Air India, All Nippon Airways, Japan Airlines, China Airlines, Korean Airlines, Singapore Airlines, Cathay Pacific, Lufthansa, and Austrian Airlines all decided to cancel some flights or switch out some planes, after Boeing reportedly warned that its 777 and 747 Type aircraft would not be able to land at some airports under low visibility conditions. However, early Wednesday, Japan Airlines claimed that the FAA told it that there is no longer a problem with the operation of the Boeing 777, and said it would resume flights to the U.S. on January 20. It's not clear what changed. Related, Emirates, Air India, and others cancel flights due to the 5G spectrum in question is known as C-band, and delays. At the core of the issue are fears that these new C-band airwaves could interfere with sensitive radar altimeters on certain aircraft, my colleague Russell Brandom explained earlier this month. Altimeters are critical for landings, especially when visibility is limited, and failures in this system were linked to a fatal 2009 Turkish Airlines crash. Related, airplane manufacturers have informed us that there are huge swaths of the operating fleet that may need to be indefinitely grounded as a result of the new 5G deployments, the airlines wrote in their letter. Immediate intervention is needed to avoid significant operational disruption to air passengers, shippers, supply chain and delivery of needed medical supplies that could cause chaos and strand tens of thousands of Americans overseas. When deployed next to runways, the 5G signals could interfere with the key safety equipment that pilots rely on to take off and land in inclement weather, United Airlines said in its own statement sent to The Verge. Without more safeguards, the rollout of this 5G spectrum could result in significant restrictions on 787s, 777s, 737s, and regional aircraft in major cities, and cause hundreds of thousands of flight cancellations and disruptions for customers across the industry in 2022, and also the suspension of cargo flights into these locations. The FAA issued a rule in early December that keeps flights from landing in poor visibility conditions if they're landing at an airport where there's deemed to be enough interference that their altimeters aren't reliable. At the time, it wasn't clear which airports and planes would be affected by the rule, particularly as Verizon and DAT. When deployed next to runways, the 5G signals could interfere with the key safety equipment. Although there is technically 220 MHz of clearance between the spectrum used by the plane's equipment and the new 5G spectrum, airlines are worried that the older equipment found in some planes might still be affected. Air safety concerns have already delayed the rollout of C-band from last December to this. United is calling for 5G to be implemented everywhere in the country on January 19, except within approximately 2 miles of airport runways at affected airports. It indicates the size of this buffer could be reduced after further analysis by the Federal Aviation Authority, FAA. On January 3, Verizon and DAT agreed to take steps to mitigate the potential effect on aviation, including placing buffer zones around 50 airports for 6 months. They agreed to halt 5G rollouts at even more towers this week, after the airline industry's warnings. C-band spectrum has already been rolled out in nearly 40 countries without causing altimeter failures, according to one tech trade group, and United says the right government policies could allow for a safe deployment in the U.S. Traffic demands of 5G, especially given update January 19, 1:39 p.m. Eastern Time, added that many airlines have canceled or changed out planes on at least some flights. Top of comments.